All right, everybody. Hi, my name is Chris O'Neill from Ninth Level Games, and I'm here to do a little live streaming for our latest campaign for Mazes Fantasy Role Playing, the City of Skull. We're going to. I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to talk about the project. I'm going to talk about why we're doing it, what we're doing, what's available. What's going on in different parts of the project, a little bit about schedule for the next couple of weeks, talk about what you can expect as a backer, talk about what you can get from the campaign, talk about what we're doing over the next couple of weeks. If you are on Facebook or YouTube or StreamYard or Twitch, feel free to hit us up with comments, questions. I'm here to answer them. I'm pretty sure that they'll come through. I don't really know. I hope that they do. But I've just been sitting here with my friend Beta, waiting for the stream to really kick off, really for the campaign to really kick off. So I'm just going to get right into it. The City of Skull is a complete world. It's a campaign setting for Mazes Fantasy Role Playing. It's the first expansion to Mazes Fantasy Role Playing. That's big. We've been doing mazes now for a couple of years. We have adventures for it. We have some core products for it. And we were looking for an opportunity to really kind of go a little big, go a little deeper, and try to answer some of the questions that people are looking for, get you some deeper stuff that people are looking for, try to do some really cool stuff there. So the products in the campaign at the core are 3 books. And the first book, which is called City of Skull, is about the size of Mazes itself. It is fully illustrated by A. Shipwright, who is the original illustrator of Mazes, with the big external on the end papers by Justine Jones, who is the illustrator from Mazes. Really great. The content is written by myself and by Patrick Clapp, who wrote Mazes. So in a lot of ways, it's a very similar book, except for the fact that it's just coming from a completely different angle. Instead of creating a situation that says, hey, here's how you capture the feel of old school role playing in a modern, elegant, fast setting. What we're saying is how do we extend that system and to do some different things? So a big part of it is how do we do advancement over time? How do we do explorative hex crawling? A big part of it is how to manage a West Marches campaign, how to really create an opportunity where the players are driving the activity. And I hope all of that's going to be things that people get out of the Mazes book that have nothing to do with the campaign world, right? And the other part of that book, though, is the campaign setting itself, which we think is kind of unique, and I'm really excited for people to get their hands on it. I'm really hoping that we get some really interesting stories that are going to drive, and I'm personally really excited for Beyond the City of Skull, which is the second book that we're going to talk about in a second, which is really going to explore a lot of this as well. So the setting for the campaign setting for City of Skull is a world, a nameless world that was where the elven witch kings came from their dark fairyland and totally decimated the orcs and the dwarves that lived here in their giant dwarven and orcan kingdoms. And when the elves were done, they did as they always do, which is they turned upon each other, and they went to war. And then as part of that war, as it cranked up, we got to this thing that nobody was really, or that the elven witch kings were not ready for, which is they did a magic so powerful that they trapped a god, and they used it to drag one of the moons into perpetual syzygy with the sun, creating a point of eclipse on their world. and everything in that magical darkness would die if it wasn't for the fact that there is this god who's been trapped and sleeping under the city of Skull, and whose magic seeps out into the wastelands and makes it verdant and fertile. And so we now jump forward in time, some unknown hundreds of years, where the humans and goblins that were left behind after the elves destroyed each other have rebuilt a society around this city, the city of Skull, and an economy that's based on going out into the wasteland and raiding adventurous mazes and coming back with powerful treasures. And those treasures are what the city uses to keep the sleeping god in check. And the sleeping god's power is so great that it creates a lot of interesting stories. My personal favorite is that there's so much life power that if left unchecked, the dead literally just rise again. So you have to do all kinds of very special things with the dead. Otherwise, they turn into Draugr, and you have zombie plants and zombie animals and zombie humans attacking every night. And so the city has to defend against that constantly, has to constantly be on guard. It also creates a natural barrier between the city and the wastelands, which is that traveling through it is very dangerous because it is filled with the undead. Another really interesting thing I think about the world itself is that it's kind of fully realized. It's not unlike a lot of fantasy stories, which are kind of set on the borderlands of things. Even though this is deep in, when you go out into the wastelands, it is the wastelands. The city itself is, it's Venice. It's Venice in the 1600s. It's or 1500s, I guess. It is a city filled to the brim with people that are living their lives, and there's a full economy that's going on. And the thing that's really different about it is, since the primary drive is going on adventures into the mazes, it's created this class of larger than life people, these heroes that are kind of like Western gunfighters, in the fact that they aren't just they're not just real, they're the celebrity of the day. And so people read and write stories about them. One of the character classes that you can play is called the Pulp Scrivener, and it's you're playing a character who is going on this adventure because they want to write about it. They want to write a book when they get home, for people to experience the adventures of the adventurers. But so the city of Skull itself is this big, sprawling, larger than life place, and really excited to share that with you. Over time, we're going to do some things. Hopefully, we'll get into some stretch goal areas where we can talk about it and do some more things. We're really excited about the idea of opening it up and letting people get a chance to actually write and do some stuff in there. All right, man. Hey, just got a note here from John Jones. Just met him at Kubla Khan. Glad to be involved. Looks like a great project, and you can't wait to see how it goes. Super rad. That means the comments are actually working. And I actually got a comment here from Brian Collin of Vast Grim, who, if you don't know, if you're looking at the page, you'll actually see that we're doing a new thing that's available through BackerKit, which is called a collab. And so if you back both our project and Vast Grim, you get a 2-part patch. That's the Power Sword, where we designed one half of it and Vast Grim designed the other half, and it's very, very cool, and you should really check that out. So I talked a little bit about the first book in the set. The first book in the set is Collab. Oh man, I just losing my voice there. Imagine that was actually powerful like He-Man. The second book that we're doing is called Beyond the City of Skull, and this is super exciting for me because it's the first time that we're really letting our guy Patrick Clapp just go completely bonkers. A while ago, Patrick came and was like, "Hey, I want to write this adventure path. I want to do this big thing where there's multiple choices, and you're running a campaign, and it's not just, hey, we're going kicking in the door, we're going on an adventure. It's, we're gonna build a company, and we're gonna go on a bunch of adventures, and what happens in between them is important." And it was a perfect match with City of Skull. And so Patrick and I actually did a lot of collaboration. Speaking of collaborations, and they will do. Patrick and I spent all this time then together, and then we actually got together and we spent like a writer's weekend, retreat weekend, where we actually both just worked on things and kind of let all the things that were going on in City of Skull just percolate. And so what we're going to have in Beyond the City of Skull is you're going to create an adventure company you are going to play multiple roles. So the first role you're going to have is called the Atriarch. Atriarchs are the people that run the City of Skull. So you are a mover and shaker in the City of Skull that is investing in a new adventuring company. And that adventuring company is going to be made up of all of the players who have multiple characters, and they can use the different characters to do different things. And there's a really interesting question that we just got here from our friend Jason Desormeaux. I'm sorry to completely destroy your last name there, bro. Does the adventure path include achievements and unlock character classes to be used in subsequent adventures? It actually does. In fact, it's going to include 6 unique character classes that are not in the City of Skull book, that will only be available in the adventure path because there'll be different things that happen. Desert Mo, there we go. Yeah, we're really kind of excited about this. The actions that you take inside the campaign, the core idea of Beyond the City of Skull is it's a hex crawl, but it's a hex crawl with different actions, and depending on what you decide to go in and what you're going to try to get done in it, they're all going to be different kinds of activities. And then depending on where you go and what you do, there will be unlockable achievements that will create opportunities. This is not one, but a good example would be you go on this one adventure and you become friends with a pack of gnolls, and so you have the opportunity to recruit a gnoll into your characters. I don't think that's one, but I mean, maybe. I could be lying. So Beyond the City of Skull, super excited. I can't wait to see it. The team, Patrick, and he's had a lot of help from some close friends. They've been doing a lot of play testing on it. They're really putting it through its paces, and very excited. Some of the actual core rules of it are going to be cored into the actual rules of the Maze's City of Skull core book, but all of it will be in the adventure pack, in the adventure path, for this unique kind of experience. And for those of you that have been doing mazes for a long time, you've been part of it. All of this is being Patrick Clapp. Patrick Clapp writes the Mazes monthly adventures. There is literally no one that knows how to write adventures for Mazes better than Patrick. Now, with that, if you have any questions, we're going to be doing an AMA, me and Patrick, this Thursday night, where we're going to get on to our Discord and StreamYard. And Patrick and I are going to talk at length about what's going on in Beyond the City of Skull. Now, the third book that we're working on that is part of this project is a very unique book, and it's different. It's called Legacy of the Dungeon 1, The Prison Tomb. And the idea is it is a solo adventure set in the early days when the elf witch kings were at the height of their power, and you play one of these witch kings, and you have made a mistake and gotten on the bad side of Volthoom the Mad, and you have to enact uh, your backdoor saving maneuver, which is to trap Volthoom in an eternal prison. But unfortunately, you are also trapped in the tomb. So the game is about setting up and preparing and what happens and going on this. But then part of it is also about building this dungeon and how do you control and deal with this powerful evil force. And when you're done, you'll be able to take the journal that you have done and you will literally be able to run it as a Mazes module for your friends. And I think it's going to create a experience that is a lot that will be akin to creating a dungeon that you spent a huge amount of time working on, but it will also create an opportunity to just have some fun yourself, especially for those forever GMs out there. And a really interesting and thank you, Brian. It is a really great concept. Let's hope it works. The core idea that we're really trying to get to, and why we're calling it Legacy of the Dungeon #1 is I hope that if this works really well, that we can do more of them. I'd like to see them in other settings and other kind of situations. I think we have enough meat in that we can use it as a way to explain some of the dark history of City of Skull, but at the same time, what we're also doing is really showing the power of the flexible polymorph engine, that you'll be able to take answers and ideas and convert them into a playable module. But it'd be really cool when you're like, oh, well, like here, draw this area, like you've built this thing, what is in there? And oh, you know what? In my playthrough, I really needed a bunch of fire demons to destroy Volthoom or to keep him at bay. Whereas in someone else, they did a completely different situation. So this room in the dungeon is going to be, filled with fire demons, right? So I'm really excited to see how that goes. And it's kind of funny, we always joke in the RPG industry, we joke about please don't tell me about your character. But now hopefully in the future it'll be please don't tell me about your room. So those are the 3 core books that make up the City of Skull campaign. We talked about our collaboration with Vast Grimm, which is super rad. And you have to check out their piece with 3 adventures for Vast Grimm and for all of its pink neon space Morkborg glory. Definitely check that out. We have some other products that are attached, some Chrome. So one of them is, after the success of our GM screen for Return to Dark Tower, we realized that there was a market for kind of a deluxe. In fact, I wonder if I can get Heather to bring that to me since I'm stuck here. Going to create some great television while I text something. We're creating this screen, and the idea of this screen is it'll have all the mazes information. It'll sit on its own. It'll be nice and thick, and it has some funky, cool features, including what I'm calling the gnarly eyeball, which is just a different way of showing the darkness to players. So we're doing that. We have in our last 2 mazes in both our mazes campaign and our excuse me, sorry, I completely lost track there. In both our mazes and Return to Dark Tower, we did great. We partnered with Campaign Coins to make some really sick coins, and they have been very popular, and we like them. So we're creating a new one for City of Skull that is the silver groat. It's the core currency in the City of Skull. It's got a skull on one side and a sword and a dragon on the back. It's really cool. I'm really excited. Mark over at Campaign Coins is in love with the coin, so I can't wait to see them actual physical coins. So we'll have some content about that on the campaign at some point, other than just the mock-up pictures. But I'm very excited by those coins, and they in world exist as since the economy is, we go out into the waste and we go and we hunt for treasure and relics. There could be all kinds of coins, but basically all that stuff comes back and goes to the church, and the church issues new coinage for it in exchange, which mimics the Maze's treasure into wealth system. And conceptually, I think it's actually a really cool thing in this kind of controlled gaming environment, which is is it over there? Thank you. We can talk about screens because I actually now have them all in my hand. So this is the original screen that we did for Mazes, and it was useful and it was effective, but it is very light and didn't stand up to a lot of action. And then we created this amazing screen for Return to Dark Tower, and it's just been such a joy to play with, and people are really into it, and the high production value. So we're bringing this level of production value to Mazes, but it's going to look more like this. We haven't finalized everything, and this is actually a spinner wheel that will have information that will allow you to change what the current darkness is immediately for everyone to see. So I'm really excited by that. I think this is going to be a very cool product. We got a note here from Jim Hildebrand. Can confirm it was super handy when I ran a Dark Tower game. Well, thanks, Jim. It is a useful and I'm a big proponent of not going into the book when I'm running a game. I just really want the game to play. I don't want to have to stop to look. So when there is some like little bit of touchy feely information, things like I need to roll on the death's door chart or something like that, if it's right there in front of me so I don't have to look it up. I do really enjoy that. And there is some extra crunch in the City of Skull, and so we want to make sure that we have all of that functionality and it's all wrapped up into that super cool looking screen. So we talked screen, we talked coins, OST. So one of my favorite things about doing the Big Mazes campaign was I'm a huge Dungeon Synth fan. So if anyone out there is into Mazes, there's a good chance that you might think that Dungeons is really cool. Dungeons is an entire genre of music. Some people say that it comes out of black metals. Other people say it comes out of medieval ambient. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. What really does matter is it's melodic, synth driven. It doesn't have to be synth sounding, but it's almost always going to be performed on synths. And it is all a bunch of associated genres of basically fantasy music. Some of it sounds like the music sound scores of Commodore 64 games. Some of it is almost orchestral. A lot of it is deeply influenced by dark ambient. It's very. It sounds like soundtrack music. It sounds like the background of a great fantasy movie. And when we did the Mazes campaign, we got to work with Heimet de Catastrophe, who is a label in Milan, Italy, run by a bunch of creative punk. Love them. They're awesome. And the Knoll Ensemble created an album for us that was totally amazing. I listen to it all the time. We asked HDK to say like, hey, do you want to do another one? And they were like, yeah, but we want to push the band Dungeon Magic. Dungeon Magic is more definitely more traditional sounding than Knoll, less synthy, more big bombastic orchestral sounds, and it was definitely more what Patrick was looking for. So we went with Dungeon Magic, and I'm super excited to again offer that cassette and the digital. Now, regardless of where you back, if you come in during the first 2 days of the campaign, you are going to get all physical backers are going to get a sticker set. We're going to create a special set of stickers that are all going to be hexes from our hex crawling. Great to put on a water bottle or put on a notebook. But they're going to have double usage. They're going to look super cool, but you would also be able to use them on a hex map. So to put important notes. So that's the everybody. And then what we're doing as a campaign, we originally just created it as our first 48 hours. But what we found before was so many people wanted it after the fact that we ended up trying to create ways to give it to everyone. So this is just going to be a piece that we're creating just for the campaign. It's not going to be physically available after the campaign. It'll probably be available digitally, but which is a demake game like we have done for Return to Dark Tower, like we did for the first Mazes campaign, called Crowns of the Heartbreaker. The unique thing here about Crowns of the Heartbreaker is a in-world game played by the young people in the City of Skull. So the leisure class, the guild leaders' children, the disaffected youths are really into playing a fantasy role-playing game where they take on the roles of these horrible, evil elves from before. So it's Vampire the Masquerade through the lens of Michael Moorcock's Elric stories, played by teenagers in an actual fantasy world where they could get a sword and they could go out into the waste and they could go fight a monster, or they could pretend to be demigods and hang out in a bar and get themselves into danger. And people that don't like the game refer to it as the Damned Elf game. So I'm super excited. The Damned Elf game is a little bit of old school D&D, a little bit of a Vampire the Masquerade, and a whole lot of a big nod to Castle Falkenstein, the only role-playing game I know that has a full role-playing game in it. But you'll actually be able to run that game inside a game if you wanted to get that meta. You'll have that option because we're going to have that as a campaign thank you that's across all the levels. So I'm super excited for that. It's been a joke that I've been working on for a really long time that I really think is fun, and it's completely over the top. So you'll be able to play it almost more Borgy style in the fact that it's like, just horrible evil people being horrible, or You can also use it as just a source of information about the world itself. So let's talk about the world itself. Let's talk about what we're doing. Some different things that we have coming up during this campaign that we're going to be running over the next couple of weeks. And if you are at home keeping a score, it is June the 4th. So over the next couple of weeks means this is going to drive us all the way into Origins. The campaign is going to be running during Origins. We have a lot coming up. It's going to be running us all the way into Free RPG Day, which is also the weekend of Origins. If you aren't going to Origins, but you will be at a Free RPG Day location, there is a 9th level games freebie, which is the Return to Dark Tower Sword of the Brigand King. So it's a quick play adventure. It's completely compatible with mazes. Something for you to look for. You can get last year's free RPG Day Mazes game on the campaign page right at the top. There's a thing that says, "Are you new to Mazes or Fantasy Role Playing? If so, click here." And it'll take you right to our page to where you can get that download. We are going to do a live play, an actual play with City of Skull rules in the City of Skull, with City of Skull classes. And so, there are 24 new classes in the core book, and then there's 6 new classes in Beyond the City of Skull. So 30 new classes that we're adding to Mazes and Return to Dark Tower. That actual play, it'll be the first time people get to see some of this stuff, will be next Thursday, which is Thursday the 13th. So Thursday the 6th, we're doing an AMA. Patrick Clapp and I get down and dirty talking about what's going on in the City of Skull, what's going on beyond the City of Skull. And then on the 13th, an actual play that I'll be running, and we'll be running it in Alchemy. So keep yourself tuned to some of the stuff that we're doing in the campaign. We have some different interesting things, hopefully some stretch goals that are going to be exciting about Alchemy. So we do have a Roll20 VTT component. We have a brand new, it just launched today in the Alchemy marketplace. So if you're using Alchemy or you were excited and thinking about Alchemy, it's time to do it. It is a amazing narrative VTT. There's nothing else like it. And you'll get to see it in action next Thursday. When I and a group of people that have never played City of Skull, we're going to talk about it. We're gonna visit, and we're going to go on an adventure with the Burning Parade. So I'm excited to show you all about that. All right, so we've talked about. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? If anyone has any questions, please hit me up as we try to figure out what's going on as I finish up here with our live. Yes, I would like to view the product. We're already halfway to our goal. Pretty rad. Thank you all so much. We're on the backer train. So we talked about mazes. We talked about City of Skull. We talked about Beyond the City of Skull. We talked about the prison tomb. We talked about the things that are vile. Deeper into the dark. There are if you are interested and new to mazes, there's some great actual plays that have already happened that are already out there on the page. Run out, check that out, and you can see some different things that we have going on. We are excited. We're excited to be on BackerKit and doing some interesting things that BackerKit has and they're doing. Right now, we're on the backer train. and trying to keep it alive. Every time someone backs, there is we're at 69 backers, so that's nice. And currently, 11% of our backers have also cracked Vesgrim, so that's super rad. I have a feeling that number is going to change, but right now, that's pretty cool. Keep it up, keep it going. There's so much that we want to do. We got stickers, we got we got some interesting stretch goals that we're planning for. Don't want to really talk about them too much because it's fun to just roll them out. And I can tell you that like one is to add an adventure to the screen. Some of them are for little tweaks here and there. Some of them are for some content, and then some of them are a little bit bigger because if we can really get some we can get some interest. It's always harder when you're talking about pushing a product that's already out there than it is a complete game or something really new. So if you have any questions, if you need anything, you can reach us at all of the social medias. We're always at Ninth Level Games, 9THLEVEL Games. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for listening. If you are new and you're just catching up to this, or you're watching this after the fact, the campaign is running for the next 23 days. So that's through June 27th. June 27th of 2024, in case you're watching this in the far future. And the coolest thing that you can do to support us, besides buying our products, is sharing it on the social medias and letting people know that you backed it, and letting people know why you thought it was cool. And with that, I think I'm going to sign out. And I'm going to get deep down into the mines. We're going to keep going. We're going to see you this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on all the same channels. So on the Facebook, on the Twitter, or no, the Twitch, on YouTube, and here on BackerKit. And we'll be back the following Thursday with an actual play. So thank you so much. Rock and roll, and may the sleeping God never awaken.